me introduce myself. My name is Naila Ulil Azmi, and today I would like to presentation about final project statistics in ALT. The first material is about correlation research, and the title for this research is The Correlation Between Breakfast Habits and English Vocabulary Memorization Ability of Students at 1 Tulungagung Senior High School. The context for this study, learning English vocabulary is essential for senior high school students because it supports listening, speaking, reading, and writing skills. However, skipping breakfast may reduce student concentration and memory needed for effective vocabulary learning. And in the case for this study examined the relationship between breakfast habits and English vocabulary memorization. And because of this data, one of these data used ordinal scale so that the data distribution was not normally distributed, so that the appropriate measurement for this data is non-parametric correlation, and the non-parametric correlation that used is Spearman correlation. And then hypothesis. Null hypothesis, there is no significant correlation between breakfast habits and English vocabulary memorization ability of students at 1 Tulungagung Senior High School. And then alternative hypothesis, there is a significant correlation between breakfast habits and English vocabulary memorization ability of students at 1 Tulungagung Senior High School. And then here's the calculation step. For the first, open the variable view. And then in the first name, we type breakfast. And then in the label, we type student breakfast habits. And then number 2, we type score, and in the label, we type student vocabulary score. And after that, we move to data view and input all data that we have. And after that, we click analyze, correlate, and bivariate. And from the left box, we move breakfast and score to the right box. And then because this study used Spearman correlation, so that we take Spearman. And we click OK, and here's the result. And here's the criteria for correlation research. Very weak, moderate, strong, and very strong. So from the data, the correlation is 0.666, indicate that there is a strong positive correlation. And then p-value from this data show that the result 0.001 indicate that the result is smaller than 0.05. So that null hypothesis is rejected and alternative hypothesis is accepted. Based on the result, it can be concluded that there is a significant positive correlation between breakfast habits and the English vocabulary memorization ability of students at 1 Tulungagung Senior High School. And then the second material is about experimental research. And the title for this research is The Effectiveness of Augmented Reality as a Learning Medium for Achieving Higher Student Reading Comprehension Score among 1 Tulungagung Senior High School. And then the context for the study, reading comprehension is essential in English learning. But many students struggle due to limited vocabulary and engaging methods. Here, augmented reality offers an interactive experience that can increase motivation and comprehension. And then the case for this study investigates the effectiveness of augmented reality as a learning medium for achieving higher student reading comprehension score among 1 Tulungagung Senior High School. And then, in this study, did not employ a pretest because researchers just focus on comparing post-test results between experimental and control group. And then hypothesis for this research is null hypothesis. There is no significant difference in student reading comprehension between experimental and control group. And then for alternative hypothesis, there is a significant difference in student reading comprehension between the experimental and control group. And after that is calculation step. For the first is normality testing. And hypothesis for normality testing is null hypothesis, the data are normally distributed. And then alternative hypothesis, the data are not normally distributed. So the first step is open the variable view and then define the student group, experimental and control group. And then type group in the first line in name column, and then type score in the second line in name column, and score reading in column label. And then in name group, in value, label the experimental group with 1 and the control group with 2. And after that, we move to data view and input all data that we have. We input experimental score and control group score. And after that, we click Analyze, Descriptive Statistic, and Explore. And after that, drag group to the factor list and score reading to the dependent list. So from the left box, we move to right box and then group in the factor list and score reading in the dependent list. And after that, we click Plot. And after that, we click Normality Plot with Test and then Continue and OK. And here's the result for normality testing. So from the result, p-value show that the result is 0.200 for Kolmogorov-Smirnov, and p-value show that the result is 0.668 for Shapiro-Wilk. And to test, show that the result is bigger than 0.05. So it means that the null hypothesis cannot be rejected, and in another word, the data is normally distributed. So because the data was normally distributed, so that the appropriate measurement for this data is parametric test, and the parametric test that used is t-test. After normality testing, we test homogeneity, and homogeneity result is from f-test. And then in data view, we click Analyze, Compare Means, and then Independent Sample t-test. And after that, we move variable student score to the test variable, and then move variable group to the grouping variable. So from the left box, we move student score in the test variable, and then we move group in grouping variable. And after that, we define group. And after that, we type 1 in group 1 and type 2 in group 2. And after that, we continue and OK. And then here's the result of independent sample t-test. F-test show that the result for p-value is 0.010. It means that the result lower than 0.05. So that null hypothesis is rejected and two groups are not homogeneous or not equal. Or in another word, two group is heterogeneous. And then for the t-test, show that the result p-value is 0.001. It means that the result is smaller than 0.05. So that null hypothesis is rejected, or in another word, alternative hypothesis is accepted. So from the result, the conclusion is students taught using augmented reality achieve significantly higher reading comprehension score than those taught using conventional learning media. Therefore, augmented reality can be considered an effective learning medium for teaching reading comprehension. That's all from me. Thank you and see you.